Well, can you believe it? Sometimes our minds take over us so much, our lower minds especially, that we forget who we are and we operate from our egos. Did you ever hear? Uh, let's explore this topic a little bit. Did you ever hear about a guy who, because he's shared so much from his household, he went into a coma? Let me explain. Once in history, there was the holy King David. And when David was on the run from Shaul, when he had not yet been recognized as king, he was in the land of a wealthy landowner named Naval. And Naval had tons of sheep. And David and his many men were out in the countryside, and they really even helped take care of the sheep. They guarded them from danger, along with the shepherds. And around time of the sheep shearing, and then there was plenty of meat, plenty of abundance going on. It was coming to the holiday of Rosh Hashanah. And Rosh Hashanah came soon, and David sent 10 men to Naval and said, Naval, we've helped you out, we've guarded your sheep. Please at least give us some food for the holiday of Rosh Hashanah, some meat and wine that we should be able to have the holiday correctly. Now Naval said, you are strangers to me. Why would I possibly give you any of my meat and my wine? So David, the king, was very angry. He felt this was so disrespectful, and as already the secret king of Israel, he wanted to kill Naval. In the meantime, Abigail, the future wife of David, she prepared while Naval was drunk, on all of his wine and meat. She prepared a giant delivery for David and delivered it herself and told him, David, you really can't do this. You're not yet publicized as king, so it wouldn't be right to kill Naval. David said, it's a good point, and he calmed himself down, and he did not allow himself to act upon that anger, feeling that she had an even more righteous view than he did. Now, Abigail went home to her husband Naval. When he came out and sobered up, she told him, hey, you know what? I delivered such and such to King David. And Naval was so disturbed that his stuff, in his deep stinginess, that his stuff had been delivered to David, that he went into a coma. The Medrash says he went into a coma. Can you believe that? Out of his stinginess, he went into a coma. A coma. And the amazing thing is, he never came out of the coma and he died. It was declared in heaven, death upon him. Ultimately, later, Abigail becomes David's wife in her righteousness. But we see such an interesting thing from this story. We see that out of someone's strong, intense ego character trait, in this case of stinginess, thinking it's my grain and my wine and my stuff, and I don't know you, that a person could literally go into a coma, be so shocked, so disturbed, that their entire neurobiological system is whacked out and goes into a coma. Which kind of makes sense if you stop and think about it. Sometimes we can be so wed to our ego parts of ourselves, so identify with them, that we actually lose ourselves and operate in unbelievable, regrettable ways. We're coming up soon to the holiday of Passover, of Pesach. And on this holiday, we especially emphasize the idea of Chometz. Chometz is something that puffs up. And they tell us that it's like something that, a Chometz, reverse Metzach, it's forehead, a brazenness, an arrogant quality, which puffs up like big challah. Instead, we eat flatbread like matzah. Now, humility. So we see that Naval had a certain disgusting characteristic to the essence of real arrogance, in this way expressing itself as stinginess. In fact, the word Naval means kind of disgusting or putrid, I believe. And so he was so caught up in this puffy bread business that he couldn't see how much big of a mistake he was that even cost him his own life. So we need to check ourselves, right? Part of Pesach, getting ready for Pesach, is searching for the Chometz. We're going to start cleaning and searching now. that we should look in our life and look in ourselves for all the areas of built up arrogance, especially in the area. I think that it's a holiday of Emunah, a holiday of faith. And our faith is stolen by I did this and I did that. An amazing thing in our therapy clinic is really this idea that I destroyed myself. I made myself sick. I made myself have OCD. I made this mistake. I did this. I did that. I. Everybody's eyeing here, eyeing this, eyeing that. We're so caught up in ourselves that we don't have room for God. The Kosker Rebbe famously says, wow, God, where is God? Anywhere you let him in. So if I'm filling up the entire space, there's no room for God. When I flatten out like matzah and I make myself humble, right? So we need to practice looking at ourselves and looking for all the areas that arrogance can take over. And I think it's especially good for us to work on self-persecution. What an amazing place to start. That Rabbi R says that self-persecution is one of the greatest sins in the Torah. What an amazing statement. Self-persecution is a sin. Do you ever think, I love thinking about the fact that if we're going to sit down and do a repentance session, a tshuva, cheshbon nefesh, one place we can absolutely start is apologizing to God for criticizing ourselves. We're going to apologize to the self. Sorry, self, for criticizing yourself. And sorry, God, for criticizing the self you gave me. If we think of ourselves as a man riding on a horse, or have a soul riding on a body, then we can apologize to the horse for criticizing it so much, or allowing it to be criticized so much. And we can apologize to God for criticizing his horse that he gave us. For we certainly know that on a deeper inyan, that the idea of injuring someone, first we have to apologize to them, and secondly, we need to apologize to God after we have earned forgiveness from them. So this work and this practice of stopping self-persecution is a wonderful opportunity to practice as we get ready for Passover. And we want to uproot any qualities that might turn us, disturb us to the point where we would turn ourselves into a coma and put ourselves into deep sleep. What's a coma? I think it's no coincidence whatsoever. A coma is a type of sleep where we're stuck inside ourselves and like asleep. We're asleep but alive. And we lack spiritual awakeness. We have spiritual slumber, if you will. And sometimes, God forbid, it could lead to a spiritual death. So I give us all the bracha, if I have the power of bracha. We should all strengthen ourselves to work on finding the areas of our life that are filled with Chometz in this getting ready for Pesach. And we can speak more on this subject, but we can learn from Naval the story of what not to do. Sometimes we learn from people in our lives what to do and how to grow, and sometimes we have role models of what not to do. And let's practice searching for these areas, making daily sessions to grow and strengthen ourselves. Have a beautiful evening. Thank you for listening.